Welcome to the NotBland Show, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Dujane Bland, and today we got a great show. Great show. We're going to have Ida Zetterström on, and we're going to talk about the Gatornationals and what it took to get there. New team, new all-woman team. Fantastic stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing what they put together. That was very unfortunate for them to have to come out to a track that was not good at all. We're also going to have a very special guest. We're going to learn you guys something. We're going to talk about the Southeast Gassers Association, or what they are known as. Sega. They have a special event at South Georgia Motorsports Park, the first race of the season. It's going to be a blast. I'm looking forward to it. Make sure you guys tell a friend to tell a friend, share, like, and make sure you subscribe. The subscriptions help out a lot for us to get more sponsors so we can continue to bring you more great coverage. Again, it's going to be a good one. And we want to thank our sponsor, Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. The season got kicked off great. I hope you guys got a chance to see the promo that I was able to cut for the season opener. It's going to be great, man. A lot of great action. It was great this weekend. A lot of upsets. You're going to have to go out on a limb a little bit. Can't stay within the lane of, being conservative. Going to have to take some chances this year if you want to have a chance to win. If you're not signed up yet, well, they'll tell you how to do so.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
And at the bottom of the ticker, you will have the code to get into our league and see if you can beat me. Right now, Dave W. is the leader in our league and had a great weekend for him. And right now, we have on the screen JCM Racing, top fuel driver, up-and-coming star, Ida Zetterström. How are you doing tonight?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. It was a wild weekend. One of the most, I say it's probably the worst Gatornationals ever.
It was definitely special.
Yes, we've had some wild ones, but that was not it. That was not it at all.
Yeah. It came with highs and lows. Let's just put it that way.
Definitely. You guys had a lot of work to get here. Kind of tell us about your off season. I know, especially with your teammate Alexis, they probably had to completely organize a whole entire new trailer, getting all new parts and pieces. It was a thrash for you guys coming into the Gatornationals.
Absolutely. I mean, they did have the trailers and so on already since we had a 2-car operation last year. So that way we were set for actually hitting the road. But obviously we had to turn a top fuel team into a funny car team. And that's not something that you just do that easy. And they were basically set with this task to do in 2 months. So it's absolutely been a whole lot of work for the whole JCM team, and especially for Alexis and their team. And actually to see them come in and do the first test session right before Gators kicked off, and they basically got 2 runs in on that new car. And Alexis said already that she felt very comfortable in the car, and you could just see that car go straight down track. And even I've seen her in car videos, and it looks like steering that thing is it really comes to you where you want it to. So I mean, I'm very happy for them to have that. And she's also said she really likes the new Dodge body, which is something that's very cool because she's been in a Toyota for so many years, and I know what it's like. Even for me, changing from an open cockpit car to a closed cockpit car, I'm still not 100% with that concept yet. It's a big change. So obviously changing a whole body and the way that you see through a windshield and the way that things are actually kind of located, so to say, can do a big difference on the car. But she said she's loving it, so I'm very happy to see that for them. And obviously they had a great outing in Gainesville, qualified really well, and then went to semifinals on Sunday. But it was not without its challenges. I mean, we haven't seen a trash like that in I don't know, ever. So
Yeah.
it was very cool.
Yeah. You guys had in qualifying, the first hit didn't make it down, but that second one on Friday, 378 with a 1 at 316.67. I mean, the car looked like, you know, it was very much smooth and running pretty much what everybody else was right around in there running, and would have been a great run for race day for sure. But you were unfortunately put on a track that was not ready for any type of competition.
Yeah, well, honestly, that pass that we made in qualifying was not something that we were particularly proud of. Obviously, we got down the track there at that night run, and it might have looked like it was smooth sailings and all pipes lit, but in reality, we were actually we had basically had two pistons hurt already when we
Wow.
stepped on the throttle. So we were down on power from that pass, and I could feel it in the car, having to basically steer it the whole way because it didn't feel like it was planted the way it should be. Basically,
Yeah.
when you're losing power on these, it did go down track, but shut off before the finish line around 900 feet. Because once you have something like that, pan pressure usually go high, and then it actually shuts the car off. But it was actually right around that time where I was ready to throw in the towel myself because I felt like the car was getting, you could notice that he wasn't really happy. And also, when you're leaving and you feel like the car isn't really running its best, and then all of a sudden you have Antron Brown on the other side and he passes you like a freight train, you know something is wrong with your car. Like that should not happen on track. But he
Right.
was obviously on a really great pass running. I think he ran a 68 or something like that. But yeah, so that run should actually have been quite a bit better for us, and we were looking at improving on Saturday, because if we would have just had everything working like it should have, we would have been able to run quicker and faster than that. But obviously Saturday rained out, so that gave us really hard conditions. Coming in on Sunday, yeah, I mean, I can tell you, I've run on some really sketchy tracks over in Europe. I mean, sometimes we run and we basically know we're not gonna make it the whole way down. But this was one of the worst starting lines I had ever seen. Backing up after burnout and just seeing that, okay, where they gonna place me? There's nothing here. Like it just looks like you're running on a no prep track, and it was. I mean, we were fifth pair and four pairs in front of us. We had seen one car go down track with Tony Stewart getting their Dodge down track, but other than that, it was pedal fests in every pair. So
Mhm.
it was kind of expected. You're kind of guessing if you're gonna smoke the tires or if you're gonna spin the tires or check the tires, because that's basically, it's kind of one of the others when the track looks like
Right.
that, depending on what the tune-up you choose to go for. I smoked the tires and I was way too quick at getting back at it. The thing is, when you're in a car, I don't have as much experience pedaling the cars as many of the drivers do out here, because in Europe, when we run on lower budgets, a lot of the times we are not allowed to pedal the car, and the times that we pedal the car, it's usually happened further out than that.
Gotcha.
So the thing is that something like that, when you're in the car and you're racing and you're seeing the other car start passing you, you need to really wait until the car had settled down. And something that's 1 second in reality feels like it's 50 when you sit in the car,
Yeah.
basically. So yeah, I was a little too quick at getting back at it, but it wouldn't have come back to me anyway. Usually when you smoke them that early and that bad, it's not really going to come back. And even though Doug didn't have a great run either, he was still so much quicker than me that I would not have been able to catch him anyhow. So it's heartbreaking, when you're stepping on the throttle and you're not leaving the starting line, basically. I mean, if you have a 60-foot that starts with a 1-0 or something, that's never a good, thing.
Right.
1.0. So that's supposed to have a 0 in front of that first dot. But yeah, it was a tough break. I also felt like I get mad at myself when stuff like that happen. Obviously, I would not blame anyone for not getting the car down that track, because that was just, almost no one got down.
Right.
Uh, but I blame myself for, I should have still had a better reaction time. I should have still done a little bit better job trying to pedal that car. It's all a learning curve for me. And we put new stuff on the car for this year, and we are changing up how I sit in the cockpit and certain things. And the more runs you get, the more comfortable you feel. And when rain comes in and takes all those runs away, it doesn't leave you with that much runs down track. We had, right as I did my top end interview and kind of explained um, how disappointed I was. We had Trip Tatum crash at the same time, and it kind of puts things in perspective to me, and kind of felt like, I mean, we did leave with a car that was in one piece. I felt incredibly sorry for them, because that's a really good operation with a really good car, and Trip is a good driver. And I mean, he did own up to saying that it was a driver error, and it's really tricky in these conditions out here, and it's very easy to get back at it too quick, or miss something when you're in a situation like that. So when the rain actually did come in, I was kind of happy for my other friends out there competing, and also for Alexis and their team, because we knew that they would have to fix the track after the rain, and the track did come around. They did a fantastic job with track prep for after that. When we went down to see the last part of E1 for Top Fuel and for Funny Car, the track was really good, and we saw really good numbers. So I'll definitely give them that. They did a good job on fixing that track for the rest of the field. We were just kind of on the bad end of it, not getting a good track at that situation. But we were not the only ones, and there's no reason to still think about that. It is what it is. We're moving on to the next one, and in a way, it was for the best for JCM, because Alexis, she won the first round running low ET of qualifying, but they had a blow up at the finish line, basically ran out of fuel and popped an engine. And it wasn't just the engine that had to be changed. I mean, they hurt the body. They didn't blow it to pieces, but they definitely hurt it. And they only had one body, because that team was put together in such a short amount of time. We simply haven't gotten things for it yet, and that's where it's at. So they didn't have the option to throw a new body on it. So my crew chief John Schaefer basically started working right away on fixing that body, and my whole crew of guys came over to help their team on everything that was needed. We had clutch guys jumping in and help them. Our heads guy came in and basically did heads for them, so that the guys that actually know the car, that was there building it, could start working on everything around and everything that got hurt, and kind of doing that. I jumped in and just helped with fuel. We helped out changing out the windshield, because that was hurt. We had really small things every here and there, making sure the chutes were the chutes, what do you call it? The chutes wires basically were in when the body comes on. Yeah, all those small things that you do not want to forget, making sure that she was suited up, because obviously everybody was hands-on the car. So we suited her up. I helped her get suited up in the pit, and they threw her in the car right away. And she was in that car when he was basically hauling ass down to the starting line, and showed up 30 seconds before they started. So her dad, JP, was there helping her pack chutes. He was there, holding the funnel when I was fueling up. He was so involved and really wanted to see this happen. But in honestly, when I came in, I did not think they were gonna be able to turn that around, because it was such a short amount of time to do it in, and there was a lot of work that had to be done. I have some videos on my Instagram and my Facebook that I edited that night and posted, and you can literally see my cruise ship hanging off the of the headers of the car as it's rolling into the water box, still doing things on the body. So it was a mad trash. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive to see, and to get up there and to really have everything function the way that it needed to was impressive. I mean, because with all that going on, it's real easy to for things to be forgotten or mistakes to be made. And guys, they had to have a short turnaround because of TV time. When they have a short turnaround, it's a lot less than what they're used to. And when you have a bang like that, it's never good, because it really does shorten the amount of time that you have to really get it together, fire it up, and get it to the line. And that was impressive for you guys to be able to do all of that in such short period of time.
Yeah, and the thing is also when you're that many people that are hands-on, it's easy that someone is more in the way than they're helping. But I felt like it wasn't really like that. Everybody really pitched in and make sure that they asked everybody, "What do you want me to do? Where do you want me to be?" And everybody communicated really well. And we had so many spectators standing outside of our pit watching us get ready with everything. And as they were warming up the car to go down, we already had funny cars on track. I mean, that's how close it was. So luckily they were in the last pair, but still, that was I don't think you can cut it closer than that. And to top that off, in that run, when we made it down there and they actually won that run and made it to the semifinals, they did have a pop at the end, not hurting the body in any way, but they did have to change the engine again. And when they came down to the top end and they had oil basically coming out, it took a long time for them to kind of collect that and let the car come back. So we were waiting and waiting and waiting for the car to come back in the pit, and we didn't know what happened. They were probably 20 minutes later than they should have come in.
Wow.
And we had a really short turnaround to get to the semis as well because of the TV time. So even for getting into the semis, that was cutting it very close. We basically rolled down right as they were firing up the first pair of funny car, even for that run. So the whole day was incredibly crazy, but I don't think that they would have been able to make it unless our team would actually have been out of competition and be able to be there helping them. And I'm very impressed about the teamwork for JCM. I mean, we have a lot of these guys that are on that car
Mhm.
were on the second car for us last year too, so we do know them. But we also have a whole lot of new guys that we have never worked with before, and it still looked like we had worked together for years and years. So I think it was a really impressive day for JCM. Not the absolute best day for me and my Top Fuel team, but for JCM as a whole, and to show what we can do not only in the workshop to get everything ready to come out, but actually pull off at the track when we have everybody helping out. It was very impressive, I felt like.
Yeah, indeed. And you really see the like the team camaraderie that came together right there. And speaking of that, you two are the first all-woman team to be out there in the NHRA. And how's that relationship with your teammate? And like y'all like football players, do you go out to eat? Then maybe somebody come over to your house and y'all have a drink or a night just sitting back watching movies. How's the relationship?
So obviously we've only had, this was our first race together. I've known Alexis for a while. Even if we haven't been super close, we've known each other for quite some years. Because even when I raced a bike back in Europe, that's kind of when we connected, because she's a big biker. She loves bikes too. So that's
Yeah.
kind of how we got to know each other a little bit. And I think she was the first nitro driver that I actually connected with out here because of the bike stuff, really. So I've kind of known her, always thought she was a true badass. I mean, I love the fact that she didn't just step into nitro funny car, even though she knew that was what she wanted to do. She went through the ranks and did super comp, won there, did the top alcohol funny cars, which are really hard to drive.
Mhm.
Did that, won in that, and kind of really earned the respect of everybody around, and showed that she can do this on different levels, and then stepping up to the nitro cars. And obviously she has some really big things on her resume, with like a US Nationals win, and they won together with both her previous team with DC Motorsports, but also with Calita Motorsports. And you could really feel the energy she had coming into this. She came to the shop. Obviously, we don't live in the same state even, so
Oh,
it's not
okay.
like we're hanging out that often.
Yeah.
I'm very close to the race shop. I'm 10 minutes from the race shop, and I'm there every day. She came in from California when she came to pour her seat, but when she came in, she was just very, very energetic, looking for fresh start, new success out here. And
Yeah.
she really wants this, and that is something that I love to see, because when you have someone around you that has that great energy and want more and really want to work for it and prove themselves out here, that is something that to me is inspiring, and it's something that also makes it feels like it's just high vibration out here. So I think
Yeah.
that's very cool. And now when we came to Gainesville, we had a whole lot of media stuff to do together. Everything from interviews with Hannah Richards on stage. We had a mission Shatton ships, which was like really cool. We got to sit there
Yeah.
and basically eat chips and talk about what we're doing out here. We had
Yeah.
some Fox interviews, some NHRA interviews, and just a lot of media stuff. And we have a ton of fun together. I feel like it's a really good combination. Obviously, this was, yes, we're the first ever all-female Nitro team, but this was not something that we was searching for. It was something
Right.
that happened very organically, and I think that
Yeah.
helps. This is not someone that has earned their place because of a marketing stunt or anything, or that we were
Right.
looking to do this. This is just two badass racers that happen to find their way into the same team, and I think we're very different in some ways and we're very alike in others, and I think we will complement each other well. So far,
Yeah.
having a ton of fun.
I agree. I agree. She's fiery, and
Yeah.
I would want her as my teammate. She's
Yeah.
definitely going to be a motivator for sure.
I think so too. Absolutely.
When you looking at getting more sponsorships so you can be out there a lot more as a female driver, how hard is it for you to seek out corporate America to sell yourself as a competitive driver, and also, marketability, showing that marketability? Thanks, Lonnie, for the question.
I mean, I think that's the way to find sponsors is hard for anybody out here. It doesn't matter if you're a girl or a boy. Like you basically just finding these the corporate money to be out here racing full time. This is not a cheap operation to run. This is something that takes a whole lot. But what I do feel like, I mean, right now I'm not 100% funded. Like I only have 10 races. I'm not fully funded. We're still looking for a lot of money to both secure this season, but to secure seasons to come. You know what I mean? I want to have I want to have solid partners where we can chase championships together, where that it's not just 1 year. That, hey, we're chasing this championship and we have a longer strategy. I mean, when we have chased championships in Europe and we have won, and we usually put at least a 3-year plan in place, and then you have a 5-year plan in place, and you have longer. It's not just looking forward to the next couple of races, and that's the situation I want to find myself in again. But obviously a lot of it does come down to connections. It's getting your foot in the door. I mean, I do feel like my team, we have incredibly great things to offer for corporate America, and not just our team, but NHRA as a whole. I mean, what you get for the money, it's a lot of money to be in NHRA, but it's actually not a lot of money compared to what you spend in NASCAR or IndyCar or some of these other sports out here. And when you're talking drag racing, I mean, just the fact that you have an open pit, that when we were going through this mad trash, we had so many people around watching, sharing us on, filming, and, talking to people around, and just having people explain what's going on. It's like a whole, it's like a race in itself, just to go and do that. And you don't get that in many other sports. We have the trackside hospitality. A lot of other sports have the hospitality where, hey, you got a VIP hospitality. You can sit in a skybox over there and watch the cars on track. Well, we have hospitality where you're actually trackside or actually pit side when we're working on the cars, and we as drivers, we come in and we sit there and we eat with you guys, and we spend time with everybody, and you feel like you're part of the gang, part of the team. And we have seen a lot of sponsors both over here in US and in Europe that they really use that hospitality as a way of bringing new and old customers. They bring in people that they need meetings with, or just a place to kind of get away from the office and have that space where you can do business in another environment. And some of them have done their biggest deals of the year right there in our hospitality. And a lot of it is also about the business to business side. There's so much on that side that we can offer here in the drag racing community. And a lot of the sponsors that I had in Europe, the reason why I was able to have, Edelbrock that big on the car, how we started with Dodge, or how we worked with KW, that was because we had such a strong business to business connection there. We were able to, set them up with worldwide networks, basically, for selling their products, or new avenues, or marketing in new places. And I think all of that together with what NHRA have with the TV package and the amount of views we actually have on our Fox streams, and also the new live streams from NHRA TV, how they have upped that for this year. I want to give a big kudos to that, because I think they've gotten some new things there that are actually Really worth looking into, seeing more of. And all of this, to package it and sell it, you need to get in the room. And for
Yeah.
me, that's the hardest part of it, because obviously I'm not American. I'm not from here. I don't have all the connections everywhere. So for me, it's not just about how to pitch it. It's getting that chance to pitch it to the right person. That's what it usually comes down to. Being a female in the sport, I feel like it can have its downsides and it can have its upsides, but why would you focus on the downs? Like, why would you sit
Right.
there and be like, hey, I can't get this sponsor because I'm a girl, or hey, this sponsor doesn't want to invest in me because he's afraid I'm gonna, I don't know, quit and go start a family in 2 years, or there is questions like that are being asked that would not be asked for men. But why would I sit and think about that? It's easier to just be, okay, this is the downside, let's put them somewhere else. This is the
Right.
positives about being a female in this sport, and this is what we can offer that maybe the guys can't, and focus on that instead. I think it's all about building up the positives and working with what the strengths you have. It's no difference than looking at another team using one of their sponsors as a strength to getting another sponsor. You basically
Right.
need to work with your assets and find ways of how that can help the companies that you want to work with. Because it's not about you. I mean, it's not about, hey, I need this much money. Hey, I need to go racing. No, it's how can you help these companies? Like, how can I make this company make money? Because everybody
Right.
wants to make money out here. Nobody
Exactly.
wants to spend money. So if you're going into a marketing meeting and you're talking about the money you need or the money you want, you got it all wrong. Like, you need to get in there and explain to them how you're gonna make them money, because that's exactly what we do out here.
Yeah, that return on investment. Hopefully,
Yeah.
producer Pete, we answered your question. I didn't see it until just now on the Instagram. Thank you for watching over there. And hello, Dad, Blake's dad. Thanks for watching tonight. Really appreciate it. My last question before I let you get out of here. You're going to be on the broadcast team here on some of these races. First of all, I think it's pretty commendable and takes a lot of guts when English is not your first
Yeah.
language. Some people are a little bit nervous to put themselves out there, but I think that's pretty awesome that you're willing to do that. And I think it's going to be pretty cool because just your personality. How are you looking forward to this side of it?
I'm excited and a little terrified. Just like you mentioned, English is not my first language, and I struggle sometimes to find the words. And I'm just thinking, when I got this question, I was thinking about standing, in Sonoma and doing a segment on Fox with Brian and Tony. And Brian says, "Hey, Ida, explain what's going on at the TV here." And I see a Top Fuel car, and I see exactly what's happening, and I can't find the correct English words in my head of explaining what part of the car is actually coming off. So I'm standing there, and I don't want to sound like a dumb blonde. So instead, I'm trying to find the word, and it just gets worse because in my mind, I'll go, "Oh my God, they're gonna think I don't know what I'm talking about." And actually, I just can't find the correct word to explain what's happening in English. And that is usually my biggest fear,
Yeah,
coming off as I don't know what I'm talking about, or, you know, basically anything in that style, when it actually is that I might say the wrong word because, yeah, English is not my first language, or might not
right.
find the word because of that. The second part of me is, I'm afraid to pronounce names wrong, because obviously I don't pronounce names the same way, and part of me goes, hey, everybody pronounced my name wrong, so it's it should be
Me
fine. But I also
too.
don't, want to be like that. So it's like I want to get it right, but I think those are the two things that I'm most afraid of. But I also know, you don't grow in your comfort zone, and I think this is good for me in several ways. Obviously, first, I get to be out there and actually, spend time with the racers, and be on the TV broadcast when I'm not racing, kind of
Yeah,
make sure that I'm out here working and hustling to be out here full time.
yeah,
Second part of this is, I feel like I can learn a whole lot of this. I mean, everybody that's out here that are working the broadcast, they're so good at what they're doing. I've several times sat behind Brian and Tony, working in the Fox booth, and I'm amazed how they do it that quickly and how they do it with the knowledge they have. I will never be like Brian, where you can ask him, who runner-up in the semifinals
He's
in
a
'97.
thesaurus.
Yeah, I don't understand how he does it, and I will not be like that. I don't have that.
Me neither.
Yeah, my brain is not big enough for that, so to say. But
No.
I'll try and find ways where the strengths I do have will fit into the broadcast. I think we all work in different ways, and I feel like us not being the same could be a good thing. I just feel like I probably need a little time to kind of get in there and feel like I'm completely confident and comfortable there. But I do feel like it will teach me a lot of things that I probably can take with me into my own interviews in the future, and I'll actually feel that I'm growing on that marketing and media side too. It's all part of it. So yeah,
Indeed.
stepping out of my comfort zone, big on that.
Yeah, me too. One piece of advice.
Yep.
The mistakes are going to happen. I had to learn this. Buddy Hall is the guy who encouraged me to do this live show, and I'm a perfectionist. I hate making mistakes.
Same.
But at the end of the day, it's like it makes you human.
True. Yeah.
Like people want to see that, hey, he can make a mistake too, and it's okay. I've gotten used to it now. That it's going to happen. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, and we're going to make some mistakes down the road. But at the end of the day, we're still going to have fun, and we're still going to do our thing. So I'm looking forward to you getting on the mic, and I think you'll do really well. I think you'll do really well. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the rest of your season as well. Go get them in Arizona. You didn't have a good shot here in Florida. You'll get a good shot there in Arizona for sure.
Yeah, Phoenix was actually the first track here in US that I tested on. Last year when we were there, I jumped into Tony's car on Monday and made some passes down track. So I haven't raced there, but I've actually ran there for a few passes. So I feel like I got a little bit of an ace up my sleeve there. So hopefully that will be a really good weekend for us. We are still working on a lot of things moving forward. I'm working on stuff like as a driver to kind of really become one with this car, because it's very different from the car I ran before, and we keep changing things on it. But one of these days I'm going to feel like I'm very one with this car, and when I do, and we find the tune up that we really want to have in this car, I think it's going to be a dangerous combination. I know people tell me saying, yeah, well, I mean, you're doing well. He's very average. And I'm like, yeah, we just don't want to be average. Like we want to be the best. So
exactly.
It's we're gonna keep working on it. And they said the same to me last year. I had an average reaction time, and I said, yeah, but that's not cutting it for me. I don't want to be the driver with the average reaction time. I want to be in the top. So we'll all just keep working on all these things. And obviously it's going to be really fun to be on the broadcast, but I'm going to be there as low as possible, because that means I've found money to run more races.
Exactly.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're definitely keep working at finding that money so we can make that 10 race schedule longer. But the most important thing is to be able to secure the seasons to come. That's absolutely where it's at. So yeah, no, I'm very excited. And just like you said, with making mistakes, I'm making them both on track, and I'm probably on the mic when we get to there. But the best thing at least is that usually the person making the mistakes, they notice them the most. So sometimes
you're right.
we can both get away with some things, but yeah, you will see me make some. I'm 100% sure.
Well, Ida, thank you so much for coming on the show, and I'll be reaching back out again. Hopefully we'll get your teammate on soon. And you're the second person on Women's History Month to kick off the show. We had Amanda Busick on last week to kick off the month. So thanks for coming on, and I'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Ida Zetterström, everybody, and she's going to go places. They're going to be better. Randy, we'll talk about the IHRA at the end of the show. Sorry, Blake, got to get to our next guest. And our next guest is Sega. This is going to be fun, man. If you're somewhere nearby, if you can get here, you need to, because this is some good stuff, some really good stuff here. And we're going to kind of get to know the Southeast Gases Association, or Sega. And we'll do that right after this commercial break. Talking Funny Cars with Buddy Hall is going to be coming back soon. I'll get some news for you and let you know when it will be coming back. They also have some other stuff in the works, man. It's going to be fun. But right now, we're going to have the owner of Southeast Gassers Association, my man, Leslie Horne. How's it going, buddy?
Good, Dejanay. How are you doing, buddy? Thanks for having me on.
I'm doing good. Yeah, no problem. I'm very excited about what's going to be happening here in South Georgia Motorsports Park. Me and Lee were kind of talking about it last year, I think it was. I was kind of asking how far you guys came, and then I see the schedule, and I'm like, no way. But I will be there. Fortunate enough, I will be there working as well. But either way, whether I was going to be working or not, I was coming because that looks like a blast of a time there with you guys at the racetrack.
Yeah, dude, we're excited to come down there too. You know, Raw him. He's been great to work with so far. I mean, this is going to be one of the biggest events we've ever went to, or you know what I'm saying, biggest platform, biggest venture. So I'm really looking for big things. Raw's been, like I say, very professional to work with. He's Johnny on it. He's really pushing, and I mean, I'm looking for a huge turnout down there.
Yes, I'm gonna tell you right now, Valdosta and the surrounding area, they turn out for South Georgia Motorsports Park. Lights Out was packed. Every event there, when it's talking about door cars, it's packed. And I expect for Valdostans and the surrounding area to turn out for this event for sure. For those who really don't know what Southeast Gassers Association is, kind of explain to those who may not know what this particular brand is all about.
All right, what it is we try to do everything pre-67. We try to put on a good show. We try to have all the correct stuff, you know, to an extent that we can have. I mean, naturally, we can't have, you know, stock 9 inches and Muncie transmission. We wouldn't be able to make a pass. But, you know, it's all naturally aspirated, all straight axles in the gas classes, all 4 speeds, you know, no automatics. It's first to the finish line wins, a pro tree. You know, and then we got classes by weight per cubic inch. You know, as you go out, you go home. The A gas is 6 pounds per cubic inch, B gas 8 pounds per cubic inch, C gas 10 pounds per cubic inch. Then we have a class super stock. That's the AFX car there.
This is a better picture.
Yeah, and that's my car there, the A gas car. And it's just cool to see it. Anybody can relate to these cars. Don't matter where you go. If you ask, you know, about the Southeast Gassers, anybody can relate to that. It's hard to relate to some of these big fancier cars. We go to some of these drag strips, and it's a big family organization. I heard Ida talking about it there too, about how the people can get up and close to the drivers and stuff. That's the way it is at our place too. You know, we're big on family, and we're big on the kids coming in, setting the cars, and you know, a lot of people thought Gassers is slow, you know, and they are slow compared to some of these cars like what Etta drives there. And, but, you know, they are fast and they are a handful. And like I say, it's all clutch assisted, single disc clutch, no multi-disc clutches or nothing. So ladder bar cars, you know, no 4 links, 10.5-inch tire. So it's fun. It's a handful to drive. And, you know, Quain's the founder of it, and he's drove all kinds of cars, and he says it's one of the hardest cars he's ever drove.
Wow. That's saying something. And it's 1/8 mile racing, correct?
Yes, it's 1/8 of a mile. I don't know. Quarter mile might get a little sketchy in A gas. I mean, but we might try it. When the right person come along, I might try it. We don't ever know.
Right.
So maybe talk a little crap. We might pull it on out and see if it'll fly. Literally.
Yeah, literally. That's a beautiful car you have there. Where did the idea for it come from?
Well, I started out Tuesday, as some of you know, in C-Gas, and I run a car. And back in the day, it's a long story. Back in the day, I was called Stud Muffin. A couple of people called me Stud Muffin. I used to road race motorcycles too. I rode back in the 90s and won a couple of championships back with CCS and stuff. And that I had a nickname. And so whenever I done my first car, just kind of as a joke, we put a chick magnet on it, just on the window, as like a joke when I went to test with it. And it just kind of stuck. I mean, not chick magnet, Stud Muffin. So it kind of stuck. Well, when I decided to go to A-Gas, I was about to call the car Super Stud. And I was talking to Pat at Ram Clutch, which is one of my good friends and one of our good sponsors for me and Southeast Gassers. And I said, look, I could do it a chick magnet across the back. I could put my chick bad like Ludacris, you know. And so that's kind of where it come from. So he told me, he said, you definitely got to call it chick magnet. And every time that you're on Facebook, you need to do the chick and the magnet emoji every time you post something. So that's kind of where that came from. And then my daughter helped me too come up with it because she was talking about the song and stuff about my chick bad. So anyway, that's what's across the back of it. So that's where it come from. And another thing too, I wanted something that the kids would remember. I know when I was a little fella, like 7, 8 years old, I went to a dirt track race, and I hadn't been to many since then, but there was a car there, Flintstone Flyer. Well, with the Flintstones. Well, I remember that car from then on. And then as I got on up a little bit, I had a cousin of mine who used to drag race on the street all the time, and a little Monza, he put a Smurf on the back of it. And I remember that car because of that. So I wanted the kids to be able to remember my car from years to come and say, hey, you remember that car had that chicken on the side of it? So, and I do get a lot of kids come up and take pictures and stuff with it, but that's a lot to do with it. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. How many cars are you guys expecting to be out there for South Georgia Motorsports?
Well, we've got about 180 cars total members. Right now we've got, I think the last I talked to Rocky was 60 or so plus, but we got a lot of people waiting on parts, include me. I actually just got my engine back just about an hour ago, and still we end up putting some older pistons in it to get together. I got 2 engines, but both of them's apart, waiting on parts. But we got some people waiting on parts. We got a lot of people that saying last minute they may be able to come in, on Friday. That's not on the list yet. We're hoping to have somewhere in the 70, 75 range by the time we get there. I think people's going to be ready to get out, especially weather like today, man. It's been nice. I left the house.
Oh, it's nice today.
I left the house this morning freezing, had a sweatshirt on by lunchtime. I was like, man, I thought that shed this thing.
Yeah, it was very nice here. And I try not to look too far ahead, but it seems like the weather for that weekend is going to be great as well. So I'm hoping that it stays that way. Usually around this time of year, it's pretty nice here. Not too many rainy days at this early stage of the year. So I'm hoping that it stays that way for you guys. Now, how do you dwindle the fields down for eliminations?
What we do is we qualify on Saturday. We have 2 rounds of qualifying, and it's just the top qualifier down, and then you just pair up lowest to the fastest all the way down till you get to the finals is what it does. So you can end up, a lot of times you end up number 1, number 2 in the final. And that's when it's cool, is when you get to that point right there. But that's how they do it. And the other thing too, we run a pretty tight ship. When we say we're gonna start at 1 o'clock, we're gonna start at 1 o'clock. So we can qualify, we can get the races in. And usually people get to go home usually by 9 o'clock, unless we have some kind of crazy event or something happen, which is rare, knock on wood for us. And I've talked to Mother Nature, about last year. Me and hers had a real big conversation, and I hope I got her convinced to, cut me a little bit of a break this year, because, man, last year she made my hair frizz about every race. It was rough.
Yeah, that's tough, man, when you have to deal with rain, and especially when you guys are so, tight-shipped and you're on schedule. That's what Lee was telling me as well about being on, don't have to worry about not being on time. And that's great. That's great. But when Mother Nature gets involved, that kind of makes your hair stand up a little bit, and maybe even kind of ticks you off.
Yeah. Well, it's part of it, but we do really try to make sure there's something going on the track all the time. We don't like dead time at all. We like for something to be going all the time. And this year we've added a couple more classes. We added the AFX class. We made it a championship class this year, points class, and then H-gas. And H-gas, for people who don't know what H-gas is, I'll do my best to explain it as much as I can. But they're 4-cylinders, 6-cylinders. It's pretty neat. Volkswagen Bug, it's a pretty neat little class too. And then the AFX, that was I guess you could say that's where the funny car come from, was AFX back in the early 60s. So it's a really cool class, and AFX is the only ones that can really run alcohol. Everybody else is gassers, runs off of gas.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I want to thank all the folks who are part of that community over there at Sega. for tuning into this show. Really appreciate you guys coming on board, and yeah, you'll love it over here. We'll be definitely carrying Southeast Gases Association a lot this year, and trying to cross promote here just as much as Monday Morning Racer does. We're going to do the same thing here on the NotBland Show. So I'm looking forward to having some of you drivers on as well. And so be ready. We're going to have a good time and get a chance to show you guys off, because at the end of the day, people love door cars. And this looks to be like grassroots racing that everybody can relate to.
Yeah, that's right. And it does. I mean, if you look at it, everybody comes up, looks at our car, and they say, that car runs how fast? That car's built like that. I mean, it does resonate with most of them to where just about anybody can go out in their backyard and put a car together and come and run with us. Now, yes, naturally, if you're going to run up front, it's going to cost a little bit more, but you can still come out, you can still compete, you can still go rounds, and you can still have a good time. And at the end of the day, you know, it's not necessarily about the fastest car and all that stuff. Yes, we all want to win, but it's about the memories that we make, the people that we meet, and the things that we do to carry on the sport. And that's what it's about. And it's not just Southeast Gas, just all of it, and all the stuff that everybody does to promote this stuff. I mean, you, Lee, you know, just there's so many people that does stuff to keep this going, and that's what it's about. Because, you know, once we turn our toes up, you know, we got to leave some type of a legacy here for the younger generation, and that's what I really wish we could get. We do have some young guns in our classes. We've got Riley Stott. I think he's 16 or 17, which is Quayne Stott's nephew. We had Kobe Welch, which he's probably 22 or so now. And it used to be that Josh was the young gun or young blood's what he was, but he's done messed around, got old, and, you know, got a baby and turned into a daddy and married and all that stuff. So yeah, looking for big things from Josh this year. Been doing a lot of work on his car. So I'm excited to get back. When you get to the end of the season, you're like, man, I'm ready for this to be over with. And then when it gets over with, you're like, man, I'm ready for this to start. And then you're going to always be prepared. You know, you're going to get started just as soon as the season's over with. And now here I am sitting here, 7, 8 days, 10 days away, and no engine in my car. Didn't even know if I was going to get it back. Rear end not in my car. The axles was wrong. I got another toter that I bought. I don't have it here yet. New trailer. I got to switch everything over to that. And I had surgery 3 weeks ago, and I ain't supposed to pick up over 15 pounds. So I'm like, man, that's just loaded up. But it's just a little stress. Just make you work a little harder. But we're going to be there. Yeah. I didn't get my engine this evening. I got a text around lunchtime, went and picked it up. So I dropped it off at Brian. I think he's working on it now as we speak. So we'll be there with no problems, but we ain't going to get the test done. For one, the doctor don't want me to, but he told me 6 weeks, but I'm going to cut that a little short. So yeah, we'll be out there Friday night letting it rip for sure.
You're going to send it.
You're going to send it. Yeah, we're going to send it and see what it'll do.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's the schedule. And this looks to be the updated schedule. Make sure, look around, see what track is close to you, and get out there and support Southeast Gases Association. You know, this is classic. This is classic drag racing right here. And they're going to be going to some really good tracks. I do know where Woodstock, Alabama is, and Gulfport, Mississippi, that track there. Those are two on my list of tracks that I would like to try to make here, even at Shadyside there. Those are some races that I would like to make that are on the schedule. So hopefully, guys, take a look at that schedule, see where you're at, and see if you can't get out there and support Southeast Gases Association and their whole entire crew. You're going to have a blast. I've seen all the videos from Monday Morning Racer, and looks like a daggone good time. So I'm excited.
Hey, that Gulfport race, Dujanay, that's something to see, buddy. I mean, come early, come down Wednesday and watch the boys down there. They put on a great show too. I mean, I got down there Wednesday last year and we had a blast. They had burnout contests. And
oh wow!
I was getting a little worried there a couple of times. I don't know how this is going to turn out. But then Friday night, let's see, we done a little bit of testing. That was Thursday night. I'm sorry, Thursday night, and then Friday night we put on a little grudge race the Joker. He'd got his new engine combination from Fulton, and he was running his mouth a little bit. So we put on a little show for him out there and had a good time. And it was, Dujanay, it was something to see. I really did not realize, that's during the cruising the coast is when that goes on. And I didn't realize that Chevrolet made so many 55 Chevrolets in my life till I was down there on that Friday night. And they was lined up, and it looked like a Tri-5 dealership coming down the turn there getting in. It was crazy. And I mean, all kinds of cars, and people had a great time. I mean, we had probably on Friday night, we probably had over 3,000 spectators on Friday night. It was slam packed, and we had a really good time. And even the last, we've done a 2 out of 3, and my last pass that we made, naturally, Joker, I outrun you, Jokers, if you're listening. So yeah, the last pass that we made, it was like 9:30, and they were still people in the stands. And then whenever the last pass was over, by the time I got back and got to my toter, they was lined up going out the gate. And I mean, it looked like, I don't know. It was just like a traffic jam with them getting out of there. So everybody stayed that long. So it was a great, great deal.
That's awesome.
And then all them guys down there is just, I mean, they opened their arms for us, and they are really, really good to us. And the facility, where it's at, it was great. I mean, it really was. And so we're looking forward to going back there too, and really excited about this first one here too at South Georgia Motorsports Park. I mean, I'm just can't wait to get there Tuesday. And for one, you get to meet me, brother. How about that?
Yeah, that's going to be great.
I've seen you a couple times. We talked a couple times on here, but I'm much better looking in person. So just remember that.
Me too. Well, Leslie, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show and to promote Southeast Gassers Association in this big season opener here at South Georgia Motorsports Park. And I look forward to meeting you here in 10 days and getting this thing kicked off and letting you guys see what South Georgia does when cars come to the racetrack.
I'm excited, brother. Tell all your friends to bring 150 friends each.
I definitely am. I have been talking about it for about a month and a half. So I have been telling everyone, and I will continue.
Sounds good. Well, Friday night will be fun too. So there'll be a lot of new combinations. There'll be a lot of testing and stuff going on Friday night down there too. So y'all come on out and hang out with us.
I will be there.
All right, brother.
All right, Leslie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Leslie Horne, everybody. And if you can, please get to an event there. This is going to be a blast. I've been looking forward to it since the schedule dropped. So I just know how South Georgia is. And when the events come to South Georgia Motorsports Park, they do turn out and they show up and show out. So I think you guys who are racers will be very pleased with what's going on here in South Georgia. Well, Randy asked a question about the IHRA. And where's that question? I'll find it. What did I think? Let's see. It's somewhere around here. I'll find it somewhere. But I know it was pertaining to the IHRA. And they put out a statement, and other tracks have said that the statement was not clear. And they come back with another statement. You can check that out on competitionplus.com that they're standing on business and saying that their statement was fair and I guess correct. Either way, whether it's errors, they happen. I really don't think it's a big deal whether they're a WDRA track or whether they're part of the IHRA. As long as these tracks are going to support the events that the IHRA are going to have, that's all that really matters. Because at the end of the day, whether they're part of the IHRA or not, they need these tracks to get IHRA back on the map. That's what's important. And I've talked about it a lot. You've probably heard it on the Power Hour. If you watch there, you've heard it here. But the IHRA is needed. More places for people to race, especially people who also like to run fuel cars. They like nitro too. Obviously, you've got Funny Car Chaos that you can go to, but there are smaller teams that would like to run for points as well. Doesn't mean they're not going to show up at an NHRA event, but that may be more feasible for them funding wise, where they can afford to go out and be able to run a season with the IHRA. And, you'll have to figure out what the combinations will be. Will they scale some things down to make it affordable for, racers and keep the budget down, but still have the quality of racing? Will they go a quarter mile? Will they go to 1,000 foot? And I think if you're going to go a quarter mile, I do believe that an adjustment in engine size and spec needs to be made. Affordability is everything when it comes to this, getting people to come out here and be able to spend their money and come out and race for points here. If they can get this kicked off, which we think it looks like it can be, I think it's going to be good for the sport. And this season, obviously, there will always be hiccups when you're restarting something. But at the end of the day, we need this. Just like AEW versus WWE, it was needed. AEW was needed in order for other people to have an opportunity to do what they love in the sport of pro wrestling. IHRA is needed. I see a lot of people, making jokes and poking fun. And it's all, it's all fun and games and ha ha ha. But at the end of the day, we need the IHRA to come back so that others can have a place to race. And a lot of people can't do these 20 race schedules, they come out to a few events and some do come out there but they want to do more. They just can't afford to do more. But maybe they can afford to do a lesser schedule of an IHRA. And that means some of these tracks that Nitro will be at usually are tracks that you're not going to see a national event of the NHRA style. May have to drive a little ways. It'll be cool to see the President's Cup come back to MIR. Grew up with that. Watched Clay Millican and those of the like win championships. It'll be nice to have it back. And hopefully it is in good hands. I believe that it is. I believe that the person at the top has the right mindset and understands what it takes to get this thing done and to kick it off and to make it sustainable. That's the key. Can't be a one-hit wonder or a flash in the pan. We see that a lot of times too. It's about crawling before you can walk, walking before you can run, and running before you can sprint. So hopefully that this is the case, but I don't take too much from a little error in how maybe it was presented. But like I said, the IHRA seems to be standing on business here and continuing with what they said, despite what MIR and others have said about them being aboard the IHRA. So, always spatting back and forth with stuff like this. So nothing new. Did you guys see it's only the first race of the season and we already have our first haymaker of Matt Smith and Andrew Hines, Vance and Hines. One race in, and it has begun. The spatting, the constant back and forth, the jabs have already begun. Andrew did take the first shot. Let's be clear. He took the first shot. He said that Matt should have been ready at the ready line. And the ready line was back there, meaning the staging lanes. That was a shot. So I'm going to go with this. I don't know why he did that. And I know that they are frustrated with the season long of what it was, where their name was kind of dragged through the mud there. And I understand that. But of course, Matt's not going to take that lightly. And, he took his shot at Andrew, not Gage. It was a great level of sportsmanship for them to wait and allow him to get his battery set so that he could run. Because at the end of the day, you fans want to see a show, not a bye run and a walk to a win. On the other hand, I need Matt Smith to stop making these small mistakes that end up costing him the race. Fortunately, this one did not. And you had a rider on the other side that was willing to wait. He admitted his lights were not great, and they weren't. It's really kind of surprising because he's really not that off, and he was this weekend. But I think the motorcycle class is going to be very interesting once again. And the most important part, I think we got a good, at least, I think we have a good 8 or 9 bikes that can get after it. I know I've seen some people say 6, but I do think there's more. I think people are leaving out a guy like Chase Van Sant. You saw what he ran this weekend, really good numbers, and, didn't have any issues. Just need to get off the line a little bit quicker. I think Steve Johnson's going to be right there. I think Steve Johnson is focused now. He's got his eye on the prize, not worrying about what Matt Smith is saying in the media and worrying about all the other extras. He's focused on racing, and that's what's important, to be focused on racing. And I think you'll see a better class this year than what we've seen last year. That's for sure. Blake says, he said, I went to the NHRA Southern Nationals in 21. Were you there? No, I wasn't. I don't know. I was not there in 21. I wasn't. Wanted to go in 20. COVID killed that. COVID killed that. Okay. I'm not going to knock you on that. I'm not going to knock you on that, Drag Racing Mayhem. I'm not going to knock you. Randy said 8th mile means much less broken parts, and it is just as exciting for the fans. Drag Racing Mayhem feels the same way, and I'm not against it either. I think you have to agree that this thing helps everyone out, money-wise, financially, so important. And it doesn't create a whole lot of issues, I would think, as far as blowing stuff up and oiling down the racetrack. So I agree with you. I think 8th mile racing is super fun. We see it a lot. I mean, when you watch a lot of these races, whether it's the Pro Mod series, they're running the 8th mile. I don't see anything wrong with it. I like it a lot. Drag Racing Mayhem says the whole sport needs to be under one format at this point. That might help. I'm not against variety, but I see your point. Memphis Lonnie said, thoughts on Bob Tasca calling Fox Sports to task. He had every right to. And I think you guys have seen me do it. They had shirts made. The NHRA PR department had shirts made clapping back at this statement. None of them were okay with that statement. And like I said on the post-race show Sunday night, those who are mad about it, it's fake outrage. Fake outrage. These are the same people that were Twitter fingers were clicking away at the fact that Fox had said it. And now Tasca, instead of him doing it through social media, he decided to get on a live mic and let them know exactly how he felt. Everybody's all upset about it. I don't have a problem at all. They deserve what they got. And they're lucky that they got just that. Because I thought he went heavy, but he could have gone heavier. with what he said, because it was absolutely and utterly a disrespect to the NHRA. It was a disrespect to those individuals. I mean, they're not, some of these classes that they're touting don't even run faster than the alcohol class. So what are we talking about here? I understand you want to promote a form of racing that you're bringing on board, but that ain't the way to do it. To basically talk out your backside, knowing darn well you watched Austin Prock at the end of the year go 341.68. So I don't have a problem. They're very fortunate that others didn't speak up and say anything, but they should have. But I think Bob was the spokesperson and got it done. Drag Racing Mayhem says, part of me thinks that NHRA is being insecure about it. What made IndyCar great was the personalities and the ad, not only the slogan. Pretty much the sport community says they don't care about NHRA. I get what you're saying, but I don't think they're being touchy about it. You said fastest motorsport. You can't come on national TV with your promotion and speak lies into existence, because everybody and their mama that knows that ain't true at all. So if you're going to promote a sport, you need to promote it correctly. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things that the NHRA could do and learn from Formula One. You talked about personalities, and that requires those in the NHRA to cooperate and show their personalities. Also, as we've talked about on the Power Hour, me and Monday Morning Racer, about building your social media platform and not depending on others to do it. You got to get involved and got to learn to do it, because that's the way these days people get to learn and know who you are as a personality. That's just the way it is. That's just the way the world is right now. And we've got to move forward in that department. But as far as them being touchy about it or insecure about it, absolutely not. They were wrong, and they deserve to be told that. Randy Johnston says drag racing is absolutely the fastest side-by-side racing. It is. It is. Happens so quick. Everything from the cars to the drivers in them, there's so much required to perform a quality run and give yourself an opportunity to win. There's no mistakes that can be made. There's no makeup laps. There's no makeups. If you screw up at the starting line, if you screw up mid-track because you shifted short, you might come up short. That's just the name of the game. That's what makes drag racing so great. So, a lot of cool things went on this weekend. It was a great start to the season once they got their mulligan and actually fixed the racetrack. If you didn't catch the March meet and you weren't there, you can go to the Monday Morning Racer Facebook page. He has been putting up edited video of the March meet, so go check it out. That is a bucket list for me. I definitely want to go to March meet. A lot of cool cars out there, old school cars, great stuff going on out there at March meet. So give it a look, see, and see what went on out there at Famoso Dragway. Well, we're going to get ready to close this show out. To let you guys know, you can find me on the Power Hour. That will be at 9 o'clock. And we are going to have Funny Car winner Chad Green on the show. And then on the back side of the show, the next guest will be J.R. Todd. We're going to talk to him about, this crew chief change. And they went and scored big. You know, it's kind of like grabbing Bill Walsh back in the day. Some of you might not know that coach's name. That's kind of like grabbing a Jimmy Johnson, a Joe Gibbs, so to speak, of tuning. I expect big things from them this season. And we'll talk to them about it over there on the Competition Plus Power Hour at 9 o'clock. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to the show. I want to thank Everything Nitro. I want to thank DragRaceReference.com and Sports Journey, of course. That's the home of your man, Dujane Bland. And you can find a lot of our NFL work over there on the site. But most importantly, Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, thank you for riding and rocking with us. You make this show possible, and we appreciate that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, next Tuesday, we will be on. Hopefully, I would like to reach out to Brian Loans and get him back on. He was in travel and had issues traveling. Got a chance to talk to him this weekend, and I figured that's what it was. So we'll try to get him back on. Hopefully next Tuesday, I'll reach out to him then. You guys, thank you. And until next Tuesday, good night.